Welcome to Shade in the City. I'm your girl, Treese, and we are here to do none other than go beyond the gates with our crazy eyes. Okay? Are you liking? I'm channeling. Do y'all know who I'm trying to channel? Do you know? Are you guess it in the comments? Anyway, y'all know I like to have fun with this because can I just be honest? I'm gonna have some real strong opinions about this week of Beyond the Gates, and I'm actually happy um, for the members. Shout out to y'all. Um, thank you for your patience. We are going to do the members only live tomorrow night, Friday. I'm probably going to make it a little bit earlier because I know it's, end of the summer. Y'all try and get y'all last little, being outside in. I understand, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to try to make it somewhat earlier. But yeah, y'all, I'm happy that I waited because I mean, well, first of all, let me say that we're here to do season 1, episode 111. Okay. If I can fit in 112 and give you a twofer, let's see how long this goes. Because I got some opinions. There's some things I really don't care about, I think aren't necessary. And yeah, we'll talk about it. But if you haven't already, all of my BTG Shade Squad and all my new viewers, please do me a favor and go ahead and hit that like button. And make sure you subscribe, okay? And yeah, y'all, let's get into this recap of Beyond the Gates and let's get shady. Before we get into the recap, let me just say shout out to all of my Shade Squad because when I give y'all an assignment, I say most of the class passes the test, okay? And I appreciate that. So I appreciate the feedback. I did try to make the screen a little bigger so that I'm not, but still small enough that I'm not overtaking the screenshot. But so hopefully it's a little better for you. But again, we're a team. I love it. Okay. Y'all my virtual co-host. So I appreciate y'all giving me your feedback on that. So y'all, let's get right into it. All right. So first, let's get into good old. We start off the episode with Kat and Tomas. Okay. So now we know he's arranged this salsa dancing class for the two of them, and she looks absolutely gorgeous in this fiery red. Okay, it was giving me so much life. As she said, she was trying to give her Celia Cruz. Okay, so she apologizes for being late, but who cares, because she looks good. Okay, now Kat starts to question, well, why the instructor is a little bit late. And so Tomas is talking about how this instructor Santi is supposed to be the Beyonce of salsa. Well, I guess it's your B-Day, Tomas, because Santi came in and said, okay, cha-cha-cha, slide to the left, slide to the right, one hop this time, all right? They're interrupted by Santi, who looks like, in my notes say, he looks like Tomas's older, more unattractive brother. I said what I said. So I did say the one thing, he just has a little bit more swag, and Kat does notice that, okay? And so then basically Santi starts to get tired of watching him basically look like a train wreck. And so he steps in as Kat's partners, and they, start to float around the room real gracefully. And you see Tomas over there mad outside the club hating because he can't get in. We see Tomas, he finally gets his rhythm, and this was so hard for me to cover. Outside of the fact that Kat looks so good, this was so hard for me to cover because I just don't want to see the two of these people together. All right. Now, then we see Naomi. She's in shock, learning that basically her two cousins are Cecile and Rob. And so she's like, well, we got to tell June, but since it was a closed adoption, we need to check with Martin first. And I was like, well, I'm glad that you did that, because real talk, you giving a little weird vibe, sis. Like, that's your whole cousin. You've known him all your life. And this sense of loyalty that you seem to have for June is just really weirding me out. And now I see why you and Jacob are together, because y'all gonna do good even to the detriment of your own family. And if I'm wrong, jump in the comments, let me know what you think. But I go on Twitter. They are eating Naomi alive. And no shade, rightfully so. If y'all disagree with my perspective, that's okay. Respectfully. All right. We move over to the Smarty household, okay? And so they just finished playing a spades game, and both the Smarty kids, of course, want Martin to stick around and play another game, but Smitty's not really feeling it. So he sends the kids to go do their chores, and Martin points out how, the kids miss seeing them together, and shit, don't act like you don't miss us being together either. And so he's like, why are you so against me spending time with my family? And so Smitty said, look, I know exactly what you're doing. I'm hip and I ain't stupid. So Martin was like, well, you know what? I feel like a prisoner. Okay. I got visiting hours with my own kids, with my own family. Where they do that at? So Smitty said, look, I need you to respect my boundaries. And Martin said, I got boundaries too. And I said, well, too soon, Martin, too soon. Unfortunately, I know you got boundaries, but unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? You still in the doghouse. It's a little too soon. Don't be out here acting like your daddy. You see where they got him. Don't want to give any spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet. So basically, he's like, look, I have boundaries. I want to be able to see my family. But then they're interrupted by a call from Naomi. And so Martin knows if Naomi calls, it has to be important. So then Naomi tells him, look, oh, where you at? Oh, you at home? And you at with Smitty? Oh, well, you stay there with Smitty. I'm on my way over to drop a bomb and destroy your whole entire life. Just wait for it. Just wait. I'll be there shortly. Okay. Now we go move over to see these two cuties, Chelsea and Madison. Chelsea was at the country club taking selfies, waiting for her, and she said, she admits, yo, I thought she was gonna stand me up. We ain't really been seeing each other lately. What's going on? And so Madison admits, I feel the distance too, but she said, don't worry about it, girl. We're gonna figure it out together. We're gonna diagnose it. We're gonna treat it, and we're gonna make it well again. And I said, you know what? I like Madison. I do. I know some of y'all still giving Madison a side eye and you don't know how to feel about her, but I think Madison go pan out. Okay. So Chelsea is running down this whole social media rollout plan that she has going on to Madison when unfortunately they are interrupted by none other than crazy-eyed Allison, okay, with her high bun. Just saying. All right. And so Allison, Chelsea asked Allison, well, how the hell did you get behind the gates? And you need a membership to get into the country club. And so Allison tells Chelsea, you know what? Don't be an elitist. Okay, Chelsea. She said, I have connections too. My trainer Diego gave me a guest pass. And so you'll be seeing a lot more of me and my crazy eyes. And so Chelsea said, look, a guest pass is not a connection. It's a courtesy. And she said, you know what? Matter of fact, right now, y'all, my eyes, I feel like sometimes they get stuck like, but anyway, she said, right now I'm getting ready to text management and had it revoked. So Alan said, well, Allison tells her, well, I know some social media platform that's getting ready to start up and they can help you. And Chelsea's like, girl, bye. Do you know who I am? I do this. I am an influencer. Why would I need your help, crazy eyes? And she said, nah, girl, I'm not desperate. Okay. She says, she said, you're not ready to operate at this level. And she said, and if you don't stop talking to me, I'm gonna have you escorted out. So yeah, so Chelsea lets her know, look, girl, I see through your bullshit. Okay. And she accuses her of trying to, you're just trying to get in between me and Madison. So Allison said, I know that you're angry, but how can you be so cruel? And she says, Craig has done enough of that, trying to gain some sympathy. And I was like, I don't feel no ways tired either. I was here with Chelsea, just being like, okay, girl. So she said, oh, and so Madison, and so then at this point, Madison gets a phone call. So she's like, look, boo, my bad. I gotta go. I gotta take this. It's work, but I am coming back. I got your back. Cause I know she crazy. So I got my good eye on you. Okay. I'm gonna be on the phone like this on the swivel. Okay. So now we see Leslie. This is another thing, y'all. This whole thing annoyed me. This whole thing annoyed me. And y'all know I usually am here for Trisha and Eva scenes. I think they both work very well together, but I think it was just this whole rollout of the storyline. And I think I would have rather preferred if old girl, and yes, I'm giving a spoiler into Thursday, but I think I would have preferred if old girl would have just popped up. Cause this whole calling this number and this inheritance, but I know it's something to it. So I'ma just, but I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Maybe it's just me, but I was like, we've spent 2 days on this. You know what I mean? I was just like, come on, let's move on. I'm sorry, y'all. So anyway, Leslie done called this number on the notice she received, like Eva done asked her to do. And so she asks if the other person on the other end has asked her, for her social and the mother's maiden name. And she said, I'm not new to the scamming thing. I'm true to this. Okay. This is what I do. So you can't play a player. All right. And so Eva talks about how, look, you did all that work and you just threw it to the wind. And so Leslie tries to manipulate her and says, nothing I do pleases you. And I'm always wrong. And, I listen to you and I call the people and I'm done. It's over. All right. So Eva said, nope, it's not over. Okay. She said it again. This is my interpretation of the scene. I'm trying to make it more eventful. Okay. So Leslie asked Eva, well, what is your real issue? And is it because you got to take care of your dear old mama? Because now you knew money and you have an issue taking care of your mama. Eva was like, no. She was like, I don't care if it was $100 or $1,000. I have no problem giving you what you need. It's the fact that you asking for unrealistic amounts. And she was like, and I used to dream about having a relationship with Ted, and now I have a chance to, be his daughter and not by mistake. So she finally feels like Ted is family, but Leslie keeps coming with her drama. As Leslie is about to read her down, her phone starts to ring. And we know it's from an unknown caller. And I'm the same way. Even if your name ain't up there, if I don't know you, I'm not answering my phone. I'm just not. Okay. So Leslie ignores it and says, I want to know why. She asked Eva why she's choosing Ted over her. And she said, I feel like it's because you feel bad about what you did to Nicole. And Eva admits that, yeah, I do love Nicole. So now this is the one part I said Trisha can act her ass off. Okay. Leslie's hurt, basically to hear that Eva says she loves Nicole. And she reminds her that, look, I'm the one that carried you for 9 months, sis. Okay. Don't ever forget that. And raised you because Alan he ain't help out. But from what I heard and how you got him, Leslie, if that's the same man, then you won't either. But we already know that. Okay. So she tells Eva, regardless of her bougie new life, it's them against the world. And, Eva's used to hearing this. And of course, her phone rings again and she ignores it, as I would have done as well. Okay. At this point, I would have blocked it so it wouldn't even run. Okay. Now, Smitty is trying to talk to Martin before Naomi and Jacob get there, and he lets Martin know he don't want the kids to be confused, thinking that they might be getting back together. So Martin like, damn, you real serious. You want some Nicole type. He said, so you just not going to be able to forgive me. He said, well, you know what? All right. He said, but you can't blame me for wanting my family back. So then that's when Naomi and Jacob pull up. Jesus Christ. I get SMH. Naomi and Jacob arrive and Smitty goes to answer the door. And Martin takes offense because he's like, oh, so this ain't my house no more. And Smitty was like, Martin, I ain't got time for this. Okay. I've been trying to get you out of the house for the last, I don't know how long. Naomi and Jacob, they walk in making a little small talk before Naomi drops the bomb that she found Tyrell and Samantha's biological mother. Okay. And so Martin is trying to understand, well, why would you go looking? What possessed you to do that? And so Jacob speaks up and says, well, let me try to help her out, clear it up, because that's not really how it happened. You know, we were out here trying to do good, and what happened was June found Naomi because I was doing good, and I introduced my do-goodiness to Naomi. And so Martin is like, well, it's a closed adoption for a reason, sis. Like, we paid good money to make sure that it was closed. So Naomi explains to Martin that that's the unhoused woman that she asked him to find a room for. And so Smitty says, look, I'm not surprised. And he reminisces on how he was doing this story on the whole foster care system when he came across Tyrell and Samantha. And he remembers Samantha being so protective over Tyrell, even though he was older, no pun intended. And so Smitty said, you know, and he went searching for a story and he found them. And I was like, oh, damn, Naomi. You and Jacob just can't help but do good. Oh, God. Anyway, so now we move on to back to the country club. Chelsea tells Allison that, look, girl, you need to go to therapy. Go talk to your friends anywhere else, but I am not your emotional support human. I said, yes, Chelsea. Yes. Yes. And Allison asked, how can you be so cold after everything that Craig put me through? And I said, girl, bye. And she's like, do you even care? And so Chelsea said, look, girl, I care. And I gave you advice on what you should do. And so Allison was like, well, it's not fair when you don't know what I was going through. And Chelsea tells her, what's not fair is you trying to manipulate your way between me and Madison. And Chelsea said, look, I have a call to take. But when I get back, please don't be here. Okay? Respectfully. Now, the call happens to be from Kat because she's thinking about, you know, now that Tomas has found his rhythm and things is moving and grooving and they done sat down and talked. And so she's thinking about maybe, you know, they should go back to her place, go back to the boom boom room and do it on the couch again. And so Kat tells her, and so Chelsea tells her, well, look, I gotta go, but just let it flow this time, you know? Just let go. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Everything's gonna work out right, you know. Hey, I hit my notes. Anyway, so yeah, so basically Tomas wants to go to her house, and so Tomas basically tells her, I'm sweaty and I need a shower. And so she suggests going back to her place, and that's what they end up doing. Another thing I was annoyed about. This was a difficult episode. So Martin asked Naomi and Jacob, well, what do you really want us to do with this information that you just dropped on us? And so Naomi said, look, I know it wasn't easy. And, you know, Jacob said, no, look, we really debated about this. And I'm like, well, did you? Because you literally, this is the same day. You found out an hour ago. You're still in the same clothes. And we're going to get into that. Because this all happened, episode 111 and episode 112 was literally all in the same day. And that was another thing that annoyed me. Okay. I'm just... You break the news, you make the decision, you break the news, you have them meet the kids and meet June all in the same day, all in the same night. Makes sense, right? Moving on. So anyway, so they're like, no, what happened was we wanted to come to you before mentioning anything to her about the kids since it was closed adoption. No, Sherlock. So she wants to know if they be willing to let the kids meet June. And somebody said, hell to the no. Those are our kids. And Martin said, look, I'm not completely closed off, but we need to discuss it as a family. So Naomi said, look, I'm sorry. She apologizes to Martin before she and Jacob leave. And then that's when we see the kids come from behind the corner. So apparently there was ear hustling. And Martin is like, well, how much did you hear? And they were like, we heard it all. Clearly, they done found our mama. And so they sit down with the smarty kids and they're trying to talk it through. Tell them this it's their decision whether they want to meet June or not. And Tyrell has no interest in doing so. He's still pretty angry. And probably because he was older, so he has a lot more memory of what they went through. But Samantha seems a little bit undecided. So Smitty reassures them, regardless of what they decide, they are still their parents. And so Tyrell said, well, look, can we have some privacy so we can talk about it for a second? And so they leave the two alone so they can discuss. Now, back at the country club, Madison is telling Chelsea how much she admired how she handled Allison when Allison, of course, walks in. And so Chelsea's like, girl, what don't you get? And so Allison reminds her, look, the Dupree nor Hamilton name is on this country club, okay? And she lets Chelsea know that actually, I'm not even here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to Madison. And I said, that's when you really should be scared. And so Allison tells Madison that I'm here to give you a PSA that Chelsea is a selfish bitch. All right. And so Madison tells Chelsea, look, girl, baby, don't worry about this crazy act. Don't worry about her, okay? So Chelsea responds, look, I am not going to let this psycho drama queen get me out of character. But warns Allison, look, okay, I'm going to let you off today. All right. But if you keep coming for me, I will get a restraining order. I wanted to say I will lay hands, but we classy base. All right. And so Allison starts going on about her and Chelsea are meant to be together. And Madison said, oh my God, this is really unhinged, huh? Yeah, she crazy. And so she asked, well, what do you plan to do about her after she leaves? And Chelsea apologizes for Allison being a nut box. And Madison says, you know what? I really appreciate the way you dealt with it. And then Chelsea talks about how much, they profess they love to each other, which was really sweet. And again, I know, some of y'all are still on the fence about Madison, but I like her. I think they make a cute little couple. And crazy eyed it's better than crazy eyed Allison. Okay. I had never really seen it for her. Anyway, so now Samantha and Tyrell are talking it over, and she says that she at least wants to meet June and hear her side of the story, but Tyrell really isn't interested because of how June left them in the dust. So Samantha thinks, well, there could be more to the story. And when Martin and Smitty come back to check on them, the kids are gone, and Martin is concerned that, oh, they, I'm just scared if they meet June that they might forget about us. And Smitty's like, that could never happen. And Martin was like, well, it could for me. You have a closer relationship with them. They just look at me as the other daddy. And so then Samantha and Tyrell return and they let them know that they've decided that they do want to meet June. So then we see Tomas and Kat and they gotten out of the shower and they decided to have some sex in the boom boom room on that same couch. Cause it's the boom boom room for a reason, right? So Kat, we see, ends up disappointed once again. And he's ready to go another round. And she's like, you want to do that to me again? No, thank you, sir. No, thank you. I decline. I decline. And so he's like, oh, so was something wrong? And then he's talking about how he feels like they're so connected and in sync. And literally I ended it with, she do not like that man. She don't like that man. And I'm this is feeling forced. Okay. But yeah, so that was episode 111 of Beyond the Gates. Stay tuned. I am literally staying up a little bit later. I already have my notes for 112, so I'm gonna spend a block. I just don't want it to be super long. So yeah, I'll be back for 112. And yeah, y'all drop your thoughts and comments. If you haven't already, please make sure that you've hit the like button. Make sure that you guys, if you're not already, please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the TikTok, the Facebook, the IG, the Twitter, the Blue Sky. I think I got everything. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I got everything. But yeah, yeah. And I thank you for tuning in. And yeah, I'll catch you for 112. Bye bye. Have a good night.